Welcome to this week's episode of Forgiving the Girl Inside. Today we have special guest Leanne Nelson with us. She is a wife, mother, farmer, and a horse crazy gal. She is an amazing woman, a stay-at-home mom raising two young daughters. She also helps as much as she can on the farm with her husband and family. She is an entrepreneur and she is helping other women navigate the overwhelming and daunting transition from motherhood to reigning to reigniting their hope and freedom to get back into the horses after babies with virtual clinics and group coaching. She has been on a healing journey from feeling trapped to finding freedom. Welcome. Thank you so much, Leanne, for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I feel really honored that you reached out to me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was intrigued by all of your horses. So
Yeah.
I've been working with a client who loves horses, and I'm in this healing journey, studying to be an apprentice. And the creator of the course, Cindy Sherwood, has a love for horses as well. And she has a devotion called Running with the Horses.
Mm.
So when I saw your profile, I'm like, there's got to be a story there. So
Yes.
tell us some more about your story, about your healing journey before when you were feeling trapped.
Well, like anyone who becomes a mom, you love being a mom. You love your kids dearly. You love all of that kind of stuff. It wasn't the fact that, I felt trapped in motherhood, but I felt like I had all these things that I loved and I wanted to do, like my horses and spending time out there. But I didn't realize, like when you go into having kids, how much everything was really going to change. You really have no idea until you actually become a mom. You think it's going to go a certain way and then it's a completely different way. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is really, really hard. I can barely see my horses. And I was feeling all of these yucky feelings of being frustrated that I couldn't see my horses and, resentment, and not resentment toward my girls, but just kind of just feeling like life was unfair. I was kind of having, I don't want to call it a pity party because it was a lot more than that, but I just did not have a good mindset around it. So I felt very, I fought with postpartum depression. And so dealing with, that and then feeling shameful around all of those feelings, because I'm like, here I am, I have two beautiful girls, I live on a wonderful farm, I'm married and all this other kind of stuff, but here I am deep down feeling unsatisfied, wanting something more and feeling like I couldn't get it. So feeling essentially trapped, and that I was just going to have to look at what I wanted from afar, but I would never be able to actually grasp it. And so it was definitely a challenging time, and it was challenging even on our marriage too, because trying to navigate how to actually ask for what I wanted and what I needed, and not waiting until, the blood's boiling and you're about to, lose. And so that's kind of, I guess, where I started. And yeah, that would probably be the core of it right there.
Wow. So the postpartum started right after your second child was born, or was it something that was ongoing, or did it sneak up on you?
Well, I dealt with depression as a teen. Um, Depression and suicide and self-harm, all that kind of stuff. And well, suicidal thoughts, I should say. And then I was able to work my way through that. And then I didn't really, the postpartum depression, I didn't even realize that's what I was dealing with. And it actually started after my first daughter. But mine really presented as anger. And so that's why I was really not prepared for it, because I just happened to talk to my doctor and it was explaining, like, none of my anger was ever towards my daughter. Unfortunately, it was towards, most of the time, either my husband or you're trying to make something work, take the lid off a jar, and like you almost want to smash the jar against the wall. You just like literally that was how angry I would get over the most ridiculous of things. And I was able to start working my way through that. But then, of course, shortly after, pregnant again. And then I kind of felt like the postpartum depression did come back again after my second daughter as well. So it's kind of been, here and there, and had worse moments and then better moments.
Yeah. So what made you want to pivot? What was the pivot point for you?
Honestly, it was a situation with my horse, which is funny because I know there was a lot of stuff in my life that I wasn't necessarily happy with. But when a person tells you maybe you need to be, figuring some stuff out, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm fine, But then when my horse literally didn't want to be around me anymore, I'm like, okay,
Oh,
something is going on here a lot deeper than what I was willing to admit at the time. And so I actually, that was my big pivot point. I was trying to work with him, and he ended up rearing, and he ran away, dragging me through the sand on my belly,
wow.
literally. And I was like, alrighty, time to look for something else. And what I went looking for was actually horse training advice. And what I got was, you need you training. And then I started going down this journey. And so that was the funny thing, because I wasn't even necessarily looking for it, but that's how God provided it to me. My wake-up call was my horse to get me looking for something for him. And then I found out that it was really me that needed the training, not my horse.
Yeah. And isn't it that the way with all of us?
Yeah.
It's we're the only ones that we can change.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how God will use even animals to bring
Yeah.
that to our attention. And they are very sensitive to our feelings, and they're not afraid to tell us.
No.
So I'm glad you were safe. I don't know, did you suffer severe injuries from
Oh,
that? I mean,
no,
oh,
I
that's good.
didn't. It was all just let go of the lead rope, but out of my stubborn sheer will, definitely trying to hold on as long as I could. But it was a very it was a humbling and embarrassing situation, but I didn't get hurt. Just my pride got hurt.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say that's good.
Yeah.
As long as you're physically okay. I can just
Yeah.
picture you with like your whole entire, stomach
Oh yeah.
gone, and some
Yeah.
rug burns or some dirt burns on your face. Yeah, maybe a couple layers of skin gone there. So
Yeah.
you're brave, and then you got back on the horse, and
Yeah.
you and the horse are good now.
Yeah.
What's your horse's name?
That horse's name is Ace.
Ace. Okay, so Ace in the hole. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's a good horse there for you.
Yeah.
So
He
wow,
is.
yeah. And then so the trainer was actually bold enough to say to you, you're not, the horse isn't the problem. Ace isn't the problem, you are.
Well, it wasn't like a first-hand conversation. I subscribed to his online training library. And so I was just watching videos, and um, I basically was able to come to that realization on my own by watching his technique. And because it was a completely different style than what I've ever known or experienced. And that is his whole philosophy is horses don't really have horse problems, horses have people problems. And I guess I was finally at that place in my life where I was humble enough to hear it, accept it, and realize how much I was at fault. And then of course then that transfers into all the other areas of my life as well. But that was the starting point. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. So who was the first one to notice the change?
It's a good question. I think my horse, honestly. And I know my horse, and I think my husband noticed, but at the same time, I think with all of us, when we go through these big transitions, our immediate circle often are the ones that get to reap the benefits last, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Hmm.
Because they are who we are closest to, they are who we feel safest with, And we often, at least for me, I would find myself not trying as hard,
Hmm.
or it would, not because I didn't want to try hard, but because it was just so much easier to slide back to where I was, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because just like how kids, right? They could be at a babysitter and be happy for hours on end. The second they see mommy, they're having a meltdown because mommy's their safe space, right? And
Yeah.
so I think it was a similar experience for me where my family was my safe space. And so then I would, while I was trying, of course, to work through things, um, that would be the area that I struggled the most with. Honestly, I felt like things came very naturally to evolve and change for my horse, and it was a lot more of a struggle in my personal life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes, it does. So that's incredible. That so it's kind of like a slow shift,
Hmm.
but it all stems back from the horse. So the horse
Yeah.
is what brought you there, and kind of like you noticed the mannerism of the horse, and that kind of reassured that you were on the right path. And I imagine it was a daily journey because hormones are crazy. And
Oh
did you
yeah.
use any natural remedies in addition to, just like I imagine you were giving yourself gratitude talks and doing journaling possibly. What was your
Mhm.
modality?
I I did do some essential oils. I use essential oils trying to balance out my hormones a bit and just to help handle the depression, and to help with my mood and all that kind of stuff. And so that was really helpful. I also I learned a lot about conscious language. And
Mm.
so that was a little farther down into my journey, but that's when things really made a dramatic effect, I found, for me. And that's when I started seeing the most impact in my personal life, because I was able to um, use the conscious language in relation to, my family and my loved ones, because, I've been who I am for many years, right? So a lot of it, of course, was new and stemmed into the postpartum depression, all that kind of stuff. But I had a lot of quirks that I've been carrying with me for a very long time. And so, of course, with that, I feel it comes with um, being defensive, with loved ones or whatever. They want to say something, and you're quick to react. And whereas with a horse, it's just a horse, it's an animal, But
Hmm.
with people, I think that's why I struggled more. But when I started learning the conscious language and using the oils and stuff like that, I was able to learn how to be more empathetic and to not be as defensive. Defensiveness is one of my biggest struggles to this day. To this day, it is still my biggest struggle. But that learning how to be truly vulnerable, even with the people you love the most, has been something that has never been natural to me. Um, and it's something that doesn't change overnight, and
Right.
it's a daily journey, but it's definitely helped a lot with the oils, the conscious language, and then AFT. That's another one that has really helped me connect the dots of why I am so defensive, why build walls up, feeling like I have to protect myself all the time, to connect that to childhood traumas and stuff like that. Because when you can start realizing why you are the way you are, then you can really start sending love to yourself and just being sympathetic to your own self. And when you can do that, then it's that much easier to be vulnerable and drop the defensiveness, so then it's just a
Mhm.
big, beautiful circle.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, and AFT, aroma freedom practice is amazing. I'm a practitioner, and I became a practitioner because of the breakthrough that I had had from the self-sabotage and shame and guilt, well, from childhood trauma and things that I had, choices that I had made that were totally inappropriate, unhealthy, and made
Yeah.
me feel really small and shameful and dirty. And that healing mechanism is incredible.
Mhm.
Some of our audience might not understand conscious language. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's very similar to manifesting. Like it is different, but it to me that's the easiest way to explain it. So if you're familiar with manifesting, it's what you think about and where you put your words, your thoughts, your emotions, that's what you're going to create. So if you're constantly living in the negative, oh, I suck, I can't do this, I'm never going to figure this out, this is way too hard, then that's exactly what your life's going to be, and you're going to be stuck there because you're focusing on the negative and all you're going to do is create more and more negative. Whereas if you change your language, and you start thinking of what you want, but you verbalize it as if you have it. So it's not I want to be compassionate, it's I am compassionate, and using it in the present tense as if it's already happened, in positive words. And basically your brain can't really differentiate, when we talk and when we think, whether it's a genuine, like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot, because really I'm not an idiot, or I am extremely patient. Your brain doesn't really know for sure what's real and what's not. It's whatever you tell yourself. So we have that immense power to tell ourselves positive things, uplifting things, and really connect with what our goals are and actually create what we want to happen, because that's what we're so focused on.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a beautiful language, conscious language.
It
And
is.
it does. And our negative thoughts, it's amazing how we automatically go to negative thoughts regardless of what happened throughout the day.
Mhm.
It's not, for whatever reason, we don't focus on the positive and our wins. We
Yeah.
automatically go to that negative, and that's hate talk, self-hate talk.
Yeah.
So yes, a great reminder for our audience to change that negativity into something positive and
Mhm.
rewire your mindset by having that conscious language and be in the present. So
Mhm.
awesome tips. Well, I understand you are is it a life coach?
I'm not certified, but I do group coaching. Um, as much as there are definitely courses that I do dream of taking, I have a lot of value to offer just with my own life experience. And so I do group coaching right now. And it's amazing. I absolutely love it. It's amazing how much, um, to see people transform just by helping guide them and giving them some tools and practical ways that they can start working on stuff themselves. And then to see them transform, but at the same time, it helps transform me at the same time, like
Yeah.
it's really, really amazing. And to be just surrounded by such amazing people who are all kind of focused on the same thing, we're all working together. And yeah, it's a really beautiful thing.
That's awesome. Do you work just mainly with women in your coaching business?
Mostly, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is it a 12-week course, or what's your program like?
Well, my group coaching, it would be more month to month, whatever somebody would be interested in. I do have some virtual clinics. And so I've got like a mini clinic that honestly, if you sat down and you wanted to, you could do it in an afternoon, to go through it all. It's kind of one of those like kickstart. Who is this person? What does she have to say? Do I really want to like it? And I want something really low cost, to kind of get a
Hmm.
good experience, see if we're a good fit. And then I have another longer clinic that, most people do it in about 90 days. And so it's one of those amazing, slow and steady, small steps. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't shut down, and because that's where a lot of people, they want to just do it all at once. And then they're like, and now I don't remember a thing. And now I feel so completely overwhelmed. I'm not going to put anything into practice. And so I do
Yeah.
encourage more slow and steady, and with the virtual clinics. And then I've got an ebook too, that is, more about the conscious language and everything I learned and how to really put that into a practical application for people like me, when you're struggling with trying to connect with your horse again, get back out to your horses after you've had kids and all that kind of stuff. So
Wow, that's fantastic. I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us, to share your
yeah.
journey. It's a beautiful healing journey. And um, if you'd like to connect with Leanne, her information will be in the comments. So be sure to check out her courses. Learn more about her story. She has a wonderful ebook, and the information is just incredible, especially if you have a journey similar to hers. And if you know someone who does have a journey similar to hers, please, my dog just went crazy. Please be sure to share this video with them. And if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell. I'm your host, Lisa Drennan, and I am glad that you're here. And if you have a healing journey that you'd like to share, connect with me. We'll get you on the show. We'd love to have you. Have an amazing day.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.